Welcome to the All Central Podcast. I'm your host, Pastor Larry Kirk. I'm joined today by Pastor Jonathan Prothero.
Hello.
Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Finally.
Amazing.
How many years it's taken me?
Just 4.
Just 4 years.
Prothero.
Close enough. Close enough. So good to have you, man. And we're going to be talking about self-control today, which is a massive topic for people because people don't have self-control, including myself, including you.
Because we suck at it.
So that's why we're talking
days.
about it. We're not good at it. But I think the world in general we're just from a bird's eye view of life. There's a lot of people that lack this fruit of the spirit, we could say.
Yeah, I see you smiling because you can think of the stories already, can't you?
Yeah, all the stories are going through my head, including my own, of course.
Right.
Including my own. And especially as you get older, it's funny, you'll notice this as you get older. Maybe, I don't know if it's happening to you now, but I'm very good during the day, discipline-wise, when it comes to food. I'm really good at it.
So while there's light.
But then darkness
creeps in
to my house, and my wife and I are sitting there watching a good show or whatever the show is, from Netflix, whatever. And we got a snack.
It's like that.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
In.
That's like, and I look at her, I'm like, we're not supposed to be doing this. This is after 6. We're just sitting here, at 8:00 at night, just shoveling.
But it's so good.
Good stuff in our face.
But it's so good.
Like, babe, you want ice cream too?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
And
so
there's always one of you that's weak-willed, isn't there?
Yeah.
You both agree in the morning, we really
I know.
We really got to change. We really got to be more disciplined. We'll go together. We'll plan our meals. But as soon as 8:00 hits,
the worst thing you could ever hear from your wife is this: honey, I need to stop eating.
Yeah.
Can you help me with that? And
this is a weekly conversation.
Here's my answer: no, because once I do, it just doesn't work well.
And not only that, it's on your fault when it goes. It's your fault when it goes wrong.
Exactly,
again, because you agreed to help me.
Exactly.
See, that's maybe what I haven't learned, because I always say yes, we'll do it together.
Yeah,
I agree,
yeah.
and that's where I'm going wrong.
Yeah, that's where you're going wrong.
Then the disappointment.
You just say no. Just no right away.
Just no straight away. It's not going to happen.
Straight away, it's not going to happen. So there's a lot of areas I think we can cover when it comes to this topic. Obviously, that's
right.
We're laughing, but it is true.
It is true. And food is it is funny, but it is a massive one for people finding control over. There's emotional eaters, there's stress eaters,
all the stress eaters, man. All the stress and emotion.
When you're tired, you sent me something the other day that's so true about preaching and how exhausting it is. There's nothing on earth. I don't know of anything more exhausting than preaching. Even playing a full game of football, soccer, or whatever. Yeah. Because you're physically tired, but you haven't spent that kind of emotion. Or just your mind mentally. You're just not as drained as when you preach. But so I have to be really careful Sunday afternoons. That's my weak spot. Yeah. Especially when I finish preaching, because I'm just like, give me the chocolate, give me the cookies.
Give me the cookies.
Give it all to me. Give me.
Babe, what'd you make?
Yeah. You got
some cake?
So some guacamole. I see guacamole in the corner.
Guacamole's good, but the chips go with it.
Exactly.
Are not so good.
Exactly. Well, guacamole's good until you've had, a tub full.
A tub.
And then you're like, it stopped being good.
You got your fats for the week.
Yeah. Stocking up.
Yeah. It's so true, man. I mean, it's a massive topic, culturally, massive topic. Well, I can't speak for, I'm sure every culture has its indulgence things that they do, whatever. But I think for America, we are the most, without offending anyone, it's the truth. So sorry if this offends you, but we're the most overweight country in the world.
Oh yeah,
by far.
Yeah, adult obesity. Mexico's catching up. I think they have the highest childhood morbidity. Well, obesity.
The number one killer in our country too is heart disease, which goes along with obesity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a really interesting book, Six Pillars of Health. He's actually just included another one, but the first two, and any doctor will say this, first 2 pillars of health is diet and exercise. Yeah, it's always those.
Which
two
I do
things.
I do diet during the day and exercise It's just at night.
During the day. Yes, those nighttime woes. I'm the same. The morning I'm disciplined, I get nighttime and I just make bad decisions.
Man. 4 egg whites in the morning, worked out. I mean, I'm doing good, man. Lunch comes along, salad with maybe some protein in a chicken or something.
And you always, in your house, you always have a big fruit bowl.
I do.
Always.
Always got apples. We got bananas. I cut up a fresh watermelon the other day. It was super good. I was dipping it in some rock salt. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody likes.
I don't understand that. That's you and your salt and your watermelon.
Thing,
is so
Sorry,
redneck.
It's a redneck.
West Virginia,
Mountain Mama.
That's a very.
It is.
Yeah.
But anyway, we always have fruit. So we always have good stuff. But then there's that one. You go looking for. You know what makes? Here's the thing. Here's my problem. So this is how I see a dessert at night, right? If I have no junk food in the house. No ice cream, no bars. Like, we had those, they called them Magnum bars. You ever had one of those?
Yes.
It's got chocolate and then caramel and then chocolate.
What? We're meant to be helping people with self-control here. Just
I know. So what I'm saying is when I don't have those things in the house,
right,
I go get yogurt.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And then so there's yogurt, right? And there's this good 0 grams of sugar in this yogurt. I guess they're the legit yogurt. Yeah. Nothing's full of sweets. No sugars. It's yogurt. And then what I do is I put blueberries on it. Okay, that's good.
That's fine.
It's fine.
Still
right?
doing okay.
I'm crunching up walnuts, right? Whole walnuts and crumpling it over. And then I'll lay the honey to it.
And then I was going to say maple syrup.
No, it's honey. It's legit. Now this is how I get through it in my brain.
And then you take the yogurt, you throw it in the bin.
Yeah.
And then you just got the honey.
It's got the honey. It's unfiltered organic honey. Like it's legit good honey for you.
Really trying to sell it to yourself, aren't you?
Because you know what it is? It's fake ice cream.
Fake.
Because you got the crunch, the fruit, the sweet, and the yogurt all together, all in one, man. It's the crunch. Every bite has a crunch to it because I put a lot of walnuts in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty. I mean, it's a lot of fatty. Like yogurt's quite fatty, nuts are quite fatty, and then you've got a lot of sugar from the blueberries, a little sugar from the just fat and sugar, basically.
Yeah, fat and sugar.
Those are the two. Yeah. I mean, they always say that like if a meal isn't going well in a kitchen, you add 2 things, fat and sugar. And it's going to taste good.
It's going to taste really good.
Put some butter in there, put something sweet in there, and
if that doesn't do it, deep fry it.
Yeah. The trifecta.
Deep fry yogurt.
Yeah. Deep fried butter.
Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, self-control in food is a massive one. We can all relate to that. Like at some point, all can. And that's a great place to start. But self-control in everything. Yeah. Like I went through a list of things, but like our emotions, I think probably being one of the biggest ones. We've seen that play out over COVID with the riots and the offense that people have taken, and just the temperature in the room is like always high. Like emotions seem to get away from us quite a lot. I mean, how do you feel like as you have matured that you have more control over your emotions, or do you still feel like it's just as big of a battle for you as it was when you were 25?
I'm gonna read a scripture.
You're gonna read. I know exactly which scripture you're gonna read as well.
No, I mean, well, maybe you do. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control.
Yeah,
Proverbs 25:28. So it's funny. So I lacked terrible self-control when I was younger. Like when it comes to, I've never had a problem with my eating habits as much, over my life, because I've always been a gym person, a sports guy. I always did those things, So I didn't indulge or whatever. Wasn't never a big drinker at all. So nothing. So I didn't have any. It didn't lack self-control in it. So, but where I did lack it was my anger issues.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was early on.
That was the big sort of thing for you when it came to control was
it was terrible.
Anger under check.
Yeah. It just about, my wife and I don't know if anybody knows this, but you're going to know it now. And hopefully Pearl won't listen to this, but the first 5 years of marriage, we didn't have kids. We wanted to, we were talking about having kids, but we just waited. We didn't know if we were going to last.
Right.
Like and a lot of it was on me. It wasn't on her.
Right.
A lot of it was on me.
Wow.
Yeah. I just really had bad anger issues, and it stemmed from hurt. It stemmed from hurt from the church.
Sure.
And a lot of some deep wounds I think I've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
And so some of that came from those areas of my life.
Yeah.
Growing up that way, and so anger was a big part of it.
Anger seemed to be a big part of the environment of church in that era anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of anger from the pulpit. And that was very much displayed as sort of the male role model.
Yeah.
Was somebody who was strong through sort of quite strong disobedience.
Yeah, and I don't
anger,
think it was toxic masculinity, what people would say. I don't think so. Not from that perspective. I just think some of it was just we served a God that was mean.
Right.
It was angry with us.
But don't you think that's a reflection of ourselves? You know what I mean? Like we projected that onto God.
I agree.
It being more of our own issue.
Sure.
But when did you become like aware then? I mean, at what point did you go, I might have an issue here?
Yeah. So marriage does a lot of things for you. And it really
didn't realize how much of a messed up person I was till I got married.
It's true. There's some truth to that. You know, there's some truth to that. And then I always say, you know, when you have your first kid, you don't realize how selfish you were, and then that goes away, and then you have your second kid, and then you find out you're still selfish, and it's still God's still working on you.
I've heard that a lot. Yeah.
So I think it's a progression of things, but I think marriage worked on that part. It's just unfortunate that Pearl was the person that
took the brunt of it.
Took the brunt of it.
Yeah. Was it like Pearl who sort of initially said that, or was it just like a self-awareness, or was there like a moment, or just like a gradual?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think the biggest one was, you know, Pearl went to Michigan to visit her family, and was like, you know what, if you don't get your stuff together,
right. She laid the law.
Like, I ain't coming home.
Right.
And but the beautiful thing is we have two sides of our family. Both of them love Jesus with all their heart. Obviously, my mom and dad, obviously, and then her mom and dad, which I love them. Her dad's now passed, but her mom's still with us. She's 89.
Yeah, she's awesome, little sweetheart.
Yeah, and she loves me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I am her favorite.
And
I'm telling you, she goes back home, and it's like I get text messages from my brother-in-laws and stuff like, oh my gosh, what did stop?
I can't
stop.
live up.
All she does is talk about you. All she does is talk about you.
Yeah, so you get on really well with them. Yeah,
I do. But it was what was great about our parents, though, going back to that, was that, no, you guys need to work this out. You know what? We're not picking, choosing sides. You guys committed to each other. Work it out.
Right. That's huge, because most parents pick a side, and now it's family against family.
They did not pick a side.
Yeah, that's massive.
How incredible is that?
That's pretty mature.
That brought us back to that moment of you know what, I need to get my stuff together. What is wrong with me?
Right. Because when you pick a side, then you get people agreeing with you and validating your emotions and feelings, and you both get that, and everything escalates. And
rightfully so, maybe to a certain degree,
Sure.
Depending on the situation.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, it was going back to the covenant and the commitment that we made to each other, and that kind of brought that to a head in that moment, and I was really struggling in my relationship with the Lord at the time anyway. So I think that kind of brought that to that place where God worked in that moment, where I allowed God to work on my heart in that moment, and I just gave forgiveness and things that I needed to a long time ago that helped, and that helped with that anger.
Right. Well, the reason I ask, I think, because a lot of people aren't even necessarily aware of where they really lack self-control. Some people, it's very obvious.
Sure.
But like yourself, you can live with an anger issue for 10, 15, 20 years and be completely unaware that I'm the one with the issue.
Yeah.
Because when you're angry, you're often angry at other people for what they've done, so they're obviously the problem.
Yeah,
and that we're just picking one thing out of a plethora of whatever you can have an issue with in control, whether it's food or in your mind or anxiety or all the things that we feel and do, whether it's an action, habitual action, time and time again. But I think like this self-awareness piece is really like the first step, and how do you get people to that place of being aware of their shortcomings or their blind spots? And again, there's no formula for this, but it's interesting to hear your story that it came out of marriage and out of kids.
There is. I think a lot of it goes back to, you know, if you're not doing therapy,
Yeah.
then you're probably not self-aware of maybe some things in your life, and because people can't, like you just said, Jonathan, everybody can go through life with certain things that just blind spots that we don't see, and we just justify and play the victim or whatever it is that justifies our actions by me responding in it as a jerk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I was so angry. Somebody backed into my car one time. Pearl was in it. This was early on, before kids. Somebody backed into our car and just got out and just walked away.
And
like, well, I ain't putting up with that.
Right.
I got my hammer out of the back of my car, and I laid into his lights. I'm not proud of that. I'm laughing. I know I'm laughing because
I'm trying
you're
to
laughing.
Reconcile that with the Larry I know now.
Yeah, I know, right? That's
like,
not. I just wouldn't do that now. You know, it's just not wise to do that.
Right.
So he came out.
Larry?
So he came out with without any taillights.
Right.
And so it was, of course, back in the day, that's before backup cameras,
Right. Yeah,
I don't even know if the guy knew he hit me. We both had boats probably. So it was,
wow.
That's the kind of anger I had though.
Right.
Just response to that. I mean, I just took everything out on that guy that day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, better him than my wife or somebody else, you know? So, but I think if you're not going through therapy and you're not self-aware, I think for me personally it was a moment of, my marriage is in jeopardy here. That was one thing. And then the second thing was my relationship with the Lord as I drew closer to him in those parts of my life and allowed God to work in my heart and my life. And gave space for that, and just really, I was serving in the church at the time too as a youth leader. All those things, but you can do all those things and really not let God work in your heart in your life.
Yeah.
But I gave space in my heart for God in those moments, and that's when I became more aware of the problem and the issue. And it doesn't mean, listen, just because you have that and you become aware of it doesn't mean it goes away. It just means that there's God works on that part, and he does soften your heart over time and works in that area. And I find myself less angry today than I did. And now, are there moments where, of course there is.
Yeah.
It's an emotion.
Yeah. And sometimes you should be angry.
I do get angry.
There are,
over the right things at times.
Well, exactly. Orphaned, handicapped children in China being left out on the streets. Those are righteous angers that we should have.
Yes.
And are really necessary in order for things to shift and move. And so anger is not a bad emotion. It's what we do with it. Do we pick up the hammer?
Yeah.
Or do we feed the homeless?
Or do we feed the homeless, right? We do something about it.
Yeah, there's a different responses to that. When I was talking about it, it'll be a couple of weeks ago now when this podcast comes out. I just talked about this idea of things we shouldn't control and things we should control.
Great message, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
and it's sort of a really simple message, and I think often we get it the wrong way around. We let go of control of things that we should have self-control over, and then we try and control and manipulate people and scenarios and other things that actually we have no real power to control, or it's just not something we should be doing. But I didn't talk much about strategies for being able to develop more self-control. So maybe that's something worth going into a little bit here, because I don't know about me personally, I love running and exercise, and we pretty healthy most of the time, although this morning I did have a cookie. It was right there. I brought them into the staff office. So I'm like, get these cookies out of here.
He felt so convicted. He had to share that on the podcast today.
It's like 7 a.m. eating my chocolate chip cookie. Like, what are you doing? But like this year, I feel like last year I did so well with running and regimented.
Discipline.
And then this year it just dropped off. I got really sick in January, even February. You remember, time and time again. Got one thing after the next.
Felt bad for you guys, man.
Yeah.
You and Amanda both.
Right,
like, what the heck's
both of us.
on?
I went away on vacation and spent like a week in bed. And
in bed?
Yeah, it was a fun way to use vacation time. But even up until now, I haven't been able to, for whatever reason, get myself going again. And I know I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware of the issue. I'm disappointed in myself for not doing it.
Sure.
And yet I don't know what it is. I haven't what do you think it is? Like, I haven't created the environment. I have just need to like suck it up, buttercup, and get on and start again. But I think there are just moments in life where it's like we know what we need to do, but we don't necessarily have the strategies in place to just move forward.
Yeah, I don't want to be fat. So that's my motivation.
That's your motivation.
Yeah,
when you start seeing the back fat and stuff
exactly,
like that.
exactly. Well, when you get my age, it's harder to lose the weight.
Yeah.
Every
Every year.
to get off, man.
I mean, I'm 36 now.
Yeah, I'm 55. So
50.
Yeah,
so you do have a bit, but it's a lot harder than 26.
Yeah.
And at 26, I could just eat anything and everything all day, and it just never made a difference.
Was it Craig Rochelle said, do occasionally what others do, consistently what others do occasionally.
Right. Yeah.
Just be more consistent with it. And I think just to going back to what you're saying, like it's hard to get a plan or whatever. I think everybody's different.
Yeah.
I think you could say something and it relates to people, and I could say something that relates to people.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like I talk to myself like, Larry, stop being a wimp.
Yeah.
I mean, get in the gym, man.
Right.
You need this for your body.
Yeah,
you need this for your health. You need to, do it. Just do this. So for me, it's just talking. Like at the gym now, I have like Apple, whatever it is, Apple Radio or whatever.
Okay.
And I listen to motivation stuff.
Oh, so
music.
You just got that going in.
I do, man. Feast on the iron. I mean, make it your meal. What are you doing talking all the time?
What are these playlists? You have to send me some.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, it's funny, man. It's hilarious. But it's like, you know what? I can't chat right now, man. I'm listening to something.
Right,
get away from me. I gotta work out. I want to talk to you. Really, I do want to talk to you, but not right now.
I'm in the zone.
I'm in the So it's like that kind of stuff that I need to just to get me there. But
sometimes you need like in other words, you need a mentor, you need a champion, you need somebody to push you and and that's the cool thing is you don't always have to hire somebody nowadays. You can just go on your phone and there they are. 1,000 personal trainers ready to yell at you.
1,000 of them. on YouTube.
Giving you insights and knowledge as well. Mm-hmm. But it's such a difficult thing. Every time we talk about the fruits of the spirits, this is Galatians 5 pulling from as well. Sort of, I started at 19, so I looked at the fruit of the flesh and then the fruit of the spirit. 9 of them, and that it's the self-control, the discipline one for me always comes up in conversation as being the hard one to master.
It is
because we have to get over ourselves.
Yeah, it's a mountain.
Yeah.
It's a climb. And I think you do. There are moments, I don't know, and I don't know what patterns you have in your life, John, when it comes to just, discipline and all those things. But I have to discipline myself to read the Bible. I have to discipline myself to read God's word. I have to discipline myself to listen to the right thing. Like I really, there are just moments, you ever go through a moment, like I love 80s music. Obviously I'm an 80s kid.
Yeah.
Right. I always felt like it's the greatest generation ever when it comes to music because
pretty good.
It is
good. We had ABBA going the other day.
Yeah, did you? Yeah, it's so good. Like some of the stuff, but then over a long period of time, I do find myself not in a good headspace. Mm-hmm. It's so weird. Now I'm not trying to be religious-y or anything like that, but I'll say, okay, you know what? I'm done with that. I can't listen to that consistently all the time. I gotta do some worship stuff, man. I got to get my brain right. I got to get my life going. So that helps me like get into God mode, awareness mode, all of that. Yeah. Like it just shifts. Music is so powerful.
It is,
but that's a discipline though for me. So I know that I can't listen to something consistently for a long period of time because, and then country music somewhere in the middle, right? The new country stuff, not like Hank Williams Jr., all that stuff, but some of the new stuff. Sam Hunt and Florida Georgia Line, all of that stuff is somewhere in the middle. Like I can listen to that more, because it's not as, I don't know, maybe that time of my life was just, it takes me there, and it's not the best place for me. But country music, but then there's certain, I gotta stop listening to that. Like I need to feed my soul, my spirit with something better.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, it's
I don't know if you've ever felt that way with when it comes to music.
Well, music creates atmospheres.
Yeah.
Like that's why we do worship in church, or why we do music in church more specifically, because whatever. The music isn't the worship, but you know what I mean. We do that praise, that idea, because it shifts atmospheres. You know, whatever's going on in the car on your way to church changes as soon as you step into that environment.
Exactly right.
And I've always said to worship teams, this is how I've always taught them, is, you know, God doesn't respond to atmosphere. Like, it's not like if you create an atmosphere, like the Holy Spirit goes, oh, okay, it's time for me to do something. Yeah. The Spirit of God's always moving and acting, but we need the right atmosphere.
We need it
to get our heart right, because the right atmosphere always builds faith.
Yeah.
And then God responds to faith. And so God doesn't respond to atmosphere, but people do. And when people respond, that builds faith. And I think that's when we can accomplish something. Like you said, you know, if you're looking for self-discipline or to some kind of measure of control in your life, creating atmospheres and environments that are conducive to that.
I tell you what, if you're listening to this, go on a if you listen to any type of music, whether it's 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever you love, whatever rap, whatever it is that you jive with, don't do it for 30 days and listen to worship music and see what it does to you.
Oh, wow.
Like, fast that for 30 days. And watch the atmosphere of your own heart and your life change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It will. I promise you it will. If you just fast that part of your life. And I'm not saying don't go back to it. You can't listen to it. I'm not dogmatic about that, because I'm not dogmatic about it in my own life. I'll be truthful with you.
Right.
But I do notice a difference in my life when and going back to what we were talking about, that will create an awareness of where you lack self-control.
Yeah, where you lack. Yeah. And especially if you're unaware.
Yeah.
I just find that I feel like sometimes I'm spinning like 50 plates of things I should be disciplined in. I should be disciplined in reading my Bible. I should be disciplined in fasting. I should be disciplined in the gym. I got to be disciplined in reading. I should practice the guitar a little bit more. I got to have a really good work ethic. And then that's before I've even talked about disciplining my own emotions and interior world and marriage. And it's just like, sometimes it just feels overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just forget all of it. I'm going to put on the television.
Yeah.
Because now I can just like, I can just block it out and I can take a second to myself. And I think people slip into these rhythms and these habitual rhythms of blocking out the world and just YouTubing for 4 hours at a time or on Netflix, or I'm just going to eat ice cream and for weeks at a time, or I'm going to go on vacation and now switch off the world, because we haven't learned, like self-discipline. When you get better at it, it shouldn't be hard. And I think that's the piece that I am still working on. It's like when you go to the gym, right? You work out for the first time, everything hurts. I think that's what self-discipline is like. I'm trying to juggle all this stuff, but it's hurting right now because I don't have the stamina and the
every
capacity.
Day at 55. It hurts.
It's not helping my analogy.
But I understand exactly.
You know, it's like a muscle that has to be trained.
Absolutely.
And the more you train that muscle, the more discipline you can take on. Yeah. And too often people are trying to control 50 disciplines in their life. We kind of talked about this a little bit the other day on the podcast with Shane and with Dad, that like with Jordan Peterson, he says, let's start with one discipline. Remember?
That's exactly where I was going with it.
Was it? Like, Like that book you read about making your bed.
Yes, that one thing. Right. Start with that, because there's something in you that when you accomplish something that early in the morning, a task.
Yeah.
That it sets you up for the rest of the day, like to accomplish more tasks. Like my dad always said it like this: like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And that's what life is like.
Yeah.
And I think disciplines are like that too. It's one bite. It's one thing at a time. It's not the overwhelming, because our minds can be that. Unfortunately, social media and things have not helped us with our disciplines, because once you look at all the different types of social media and different things that people are doing, you're like, I need to be doing that. Well, I need to be doing that. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing and all of that floods your brain and your mind. You're like, well, I'm not going to do any of it now because it's so overwhelming.
Well, that's exactly it. I was watching somebody like wash berries, and apparently I've been washing my berries the wrong way, because you should put it in water and then baking soda and vinegar and leave it for 15 minutes and turn them around and then rinse them off. And I'm like, I love that. That's great. But if I did everything I was meant to do, I just wouldn't have the minutes in the day to be as disciplined as as I feel like I should be because of external pressures.
Yeah.
Rather than being disciplined and, like you say, focusing on one task at a time.
One task at a time.
One accomplishment at a time.
Yeah.
Because then at least you can look back in the day and go, I didn't do everything, but I did do these things.
I just think it's really hard for us to do that. It's difficult for anyone, even if someone wants to start losing weight, where do you start? And then it's like, well, if you talk to this person, it's your eating habits. You talk to this, you just go to the gym. You got to get a gym membership. You got to, and the insurmountable things that they start to look at, and they're just like, I'm just going to eat whatever I want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, but you start somewhere. Start with your diet first.
Yeah.
Not working out. Just start with your diet. I have a friend of mine who stopped drinking Coke, right? And he lost 25 pounds in
how much Coke was
a couple months, all the time. Like he did it, like you and I would have coffee.
You just have Coke.
He was drinking twice that much because big gulps.
Yeah.
And 25, 30 pounds later in a couple months, just from
one thing.
Right.
Because you can control one thing.
One thing.
Yeah.
That's it. That was it.
Amazing.
Isn't that incredible? We just started drinking water and lost that kind of weight.
Yeah.
Without going to the gym, just stop drinking Coke.
Yeah. Just reduce the sugar intake. And it was like,
massive sugar.
Yeah.
You look at what Coke has.
Oh, man.
And you're drinking big gulps. I don't know if you know a big gulp. Big gulps are like 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven, like we do it right in America.
You get a bucket.
It's literally a big gulp is like a plastic cup that you just take in and you refill. Because your refills are cheaper. So it's about this size at the bottom, and then up here though it gets like that big, or like huge, like right?
Pig trough.
And it's this. Yeah.
It's insane. In a can of Coke, there's 36, 37 grams of sugar. That's like 6 to 7 teaspoons. But if you have a coffee like that size, imagine sort of going 1, 2.
Oh no.
Nah.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
4. Still not sweet enough. 5, 6. But then that's just a can. If you're having that thing that's like 10 cans.
I mean, we use Coca-Cola here to eat the battery acid off your battery or your car battery.
This is nothing.
What does that tell you?
There's nothing
about Coke, right?
About Coke. Yeah, it's unreal.
I mean, other than it settles your stomach if you...
sure. You don't have to finish that sentence, but settles your stomach.
Yeah, settles your stomach if if your stomach's upset, right?
Yeah.
But it just tells you how much acid is in that thing. It's eating up whatever's in there. But think about it. So it's just one thing he did, and he lost that kind of weight. Yeah. So you got to start with one thing.
Start with one thing, and I find that when I hang out with people who are disciplined, like there's something so attractive about that lifestyle of super disciplined. But like, every time I see it, I'm like, I want that.
Craig Rochelle's like that.
Like Craig Rochelle, all those guys.
Most
like
disciplined guy I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the gym every single day, but he studies every single day. The way he at least presents on social media. I don't know him personally behind the doors, but from what people we do know who do know him personally, they all say the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can teach the way he teaches with that kind of authority without it being real and legit, But someone like that, you just look at it and it's such a... I don't mean attractive in the romantic sense. I just mean attractive in terms of I want some of that. No, but I don't mean like when I see anyone who's disciplined, it's not like, I just mean there's something about that goes, oh, if I could do that, what could my life look like and be like? And I'm sure there are people watching this thinking the same thing. Like you've desired now for 5-10 years, but you still haven't made the decision because you haven't changed the thinking yet. To change whatever it is you need to change in your life to find that measure of self-control.
Yeah, I think if you again, I think you get to the place where you get so tired of being where you're at that something in you just you just start to overcome and start to do the things necessary, whether it's working out or whether it's eating right or whether it's reading your Bible more. I think it's that's where, at least for me, that's where I find myself at times. Like, you know what, I'm stinking getting lazy and flabby. I've had enough of this.
Right.
That just kind of motivates me to, or man, my mind isn't thinking godly things.
Right.
I need to do something about that. Like that's not, my hatred for that person that should not be there.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's something amiss that I need to work on. Like for me, it's coming to that place where I don't want to feel that way, or I don't want to be that way, or I don't want to, live my life that way. That's not the way God's designed it.
Yeah, not the way. And we have to find things that are going to motivate us, whether it's like a self-awareness, or even like you, it's a not wanting to let those around me down. I don't want to let Pearl down or my kids down. And so sometimes our relationships can be a phenomenal source of motivation for us.
Accountability.
Yeah. I used to work with a guy who was very obese. I used to work as a personal trainer, believe it or not, even with these skinny arms.
No, you're in great shape.
But I worked with more endurance athletes. But he asked me, and but if his whole motivation was he just had a boy, and he just said, I want to play with him when he's older. I don't want to be out of breath, pushing him on the swing. And so sometimes those relationships in our world can be extremely motivating factors for helping us.
My kids aren't married, and I'm already looking for grandkids. They're not married yet, but so if there's any single ladies out there. But anyway, my kids aren't married yet.
Maybe we can put up a picture of them, just advertise them out there. Yeah,
without their shirts on.
There's plenty of those pictures.
Muscles.
Why is he always walking around without his shirt on?
Dude, he does. Have you noticed that? Garrett does that
everywhere, dude.
Everywhere.
You're gonna poke someone's eyes out with those things.
He does. I'm like, dude, just put a shirt on. So and so's coming over the house. I mean, be an adult, right?
Flex.
But yeah, I want grandbabies. So yeah, I want to be in enough shape to
play with them, right?
To take them fishing, to take them hunting, to do the things like that.
That's a motivating factor.
Yeah,
it's not the sole reason, but it helps.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the sole reason. Well, it's one of the reasons. And I've watched my dad do that with my boys. And he's been in shape enough to do that, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just the legacy of that, and the influence that grandparents have with their with their grandkids.
Yeah. One of the things, if you've ever read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, phenomenal book. We've talked about it a few times. He talks about building habits, obviously, and one of the reasons we don't build the habits that we want to build, and he simplifies it down. One of the simplifying terminologies that he uses is just this idea of pleasure and discomfort. And so we don't do the things that we want to do because there's a measure of discomfort, and we chase things that are pleasurable to us. So the ice cream late in the evening is a lot more pleasurable than the discipline of not eating that ice cream. And I liked this idea that things can motivate us as well. We have outside factors like family can motivate us. But one of the things he talks about is just rewarding yourself with simple things. It doesn't have to be anything major, but small rewards that give you a positive feedback loop. And so like when you work out and your muscles are hurting, that's a negative feedback loop because it hurts. I mean, pain, I did something that was painful, and what's my net reward? It hurts the day after. And so trying to find whatever it is that you enjoy doing as a sort of reward model. So this guy, for example, when we hit milestones with him losing weight, I was helping him lose weight. He was really into Lego. And so with every milestone, it sounds really kiddish, but he just bought himself a new Lego set or whatever it was, the next extended expansion kit or whatever it was he was buying. You get what I'm saying. But he found a way to kind of reward himself and to have something to look forward to with every milestone that he hit that wasn't detrimental to the goal he was trying to accomplish. So it's no good saying I'll go to the gym, so I'm going to reward myself with ice cream. Because that's detrimental.
Counterproductive.
Counterproductive. And I think that could be a really helpful thing as well for a lot of people, is just like, okay, the reward can be tiny, but significant enough for it to be like there's a positive sense of feedback I'm getting.
My reward is?
No, I got no idea.
I go to the gym, work out. Wife goes, baby.
Oh gosh, this should be it's turning into an X-rated.
Your arms. I'm like,
what is it?
I'm like, that's right, baby.
Well, men are so pathetic and weak-willed. All it takes is just like one little word of affirmation. That's and we're like, that's right.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
That's my reward.
Yeah. Well, positive feedback loops.
It is positive feedback loops.
And it's a small thing, but even that can be really helpful in encouraging one another.
This is funny. You said to me the other day, because, dude, you look jacked.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
You came straight from the gym
I
or
did,
something.
Yeah, I was at the gym, and I was like, that's right. That's right. Got the swole on. But it is positive like that does motivate you for sure. Yeah. I never looked at it that way, John, when it comes to that. Like when you frameworked it that way, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, because here's what we do is we typically beat ourselves up for doing the thing that we wanted to do.
Of course.
So we go to the gym, and while we're in the gym, we're going, you're so lazy. Why didn't you come here before? Look how overweight you are. Look how weak you are. And this relates not just to the gym, but in any discipline you're trying to build. Often while we're doing the discipline and starting it off, we're bullying ourselves for not having done it earlier. Rather than giving ourselves positive feedback.
No motivation at all.
Like I'm just going to flog myself, and so now the entire experience becomes one of misery.
Yeah,
because you're associating doing the discipline with beating yourself up for not doing it, and so we got to reframe, rechange, and have these positive feedback loops. I found quite helpful.
Good, man. That's really good. I like that.
Yeah,
I don't like Legos, but.
Yeah, I mean that's
a yeah. No, but it's a great example.
He was very excited by it every time.
That's
so
awesome.
Whatever floats your boat.
But that's awesome. Yeah, but you're making him. Yeah, you're getting him to his goal and everything like that. That's really awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So Matt, self-control. I don't have all the answers for it. I wish I did, but I think it is something we have to partner with the spirit more in finding self-control in our emotions, mind, spiritually, physically.
Yeah, because your overeating could be, like you said, stress. It could be emotional. There's a lot of things you could. Boredom. It's so true, man. Yeah. When you're bored.
Idle hands make for the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
You know?
Your stomach makes for the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things that when it comes to self-control that, again, I don't pretend to have the answers for, because I think everybody's so different, and even their motivation is different, right? Your motivation has to be way different. So I think what you worked on last year, even this year, was before we get off here. I think we're running
out of time.
Running out of time a little bit. Was because we went golfing or whatever. You were, when you first got here, you were a terrible golfer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you were so bad that you made me look good, and I'm bad, right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, and then, but you worked on it. You disciplined yourself. You worked on it. You did it consistently. What others did occasionally, like me, when it comes to golf swing. And you hit the ball really well, and you're solid. You're really a good golfer. Yeah, see, you love the affirmation.
Keep coming.
No, but it's true. Dude, it's true. It's massive difference.
I was crunching that ball.
Yeah, it's massive difference.
Yeah, and it's small dividends, because I don't perceive the improvement as much as somebody else will perceive it.
I couldn't believe it, to be fair.
Right. So in my head, I'm about the same as I was.
I could not believe you sucked.
Yeah,
you were awful. No, you were hitting the ball everywhere.
Everywhere.
Seriously.
If I was hitting the ball.
If you're hitting the ball, right. Yeah. But it was like, man, he is so good now.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, but you don't always see that self-improvement, do you? Like when you go to the gym, you don't always see those gains.
Yeah.
But then if, because you don't have the time to practice, then when you come back, and somebody stayed at the same level, you realize like how much further you've grown or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
In an ability. Well, at least the golf game is something I got some discipline in.
No, but I mean, it just shows you what discipline can do.
Right, it does. It does. It's absolutely.
A prime example of shooting 110 versus an 85. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that's the gap, but it's there.
No, totally. And Rich Roll, he writes about this. There's a lot of research shown that a lot of people quit just before they really start to perform. So they get to a point, with running, gym, eating, even anger issues, whatever it is you're dealing with. It's like I work on it. And because the improvement initially is large and then it tapers off, improvement is always it's exponential, but in the opposite way. So when you begin, like to get from 120 handicap or 120, shooting 120 down to 100 doesn't take long at all.
Yeah.
But then it gets harder and harder.
That's right.
So the time it took you to shoot 100 down to 80 will take you the same time to get from 80 down to 70. will take you the same time again to get from 70 down to 65.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it tapers off, and most people, they experience this, but as soon as that curve begins to taper off, that's when they quit, and they're actually just about to enter into the 1 percentile of people who can accomplish this, who sit at the top of this skill level or whatever it is.
You run. So
yes.
Would it be like,
it's exactly the same
the wall?
Running. Well, you hit the wall,
and then you press through the wall. Though you could quit because you feel like you're done, like it's it.
Yeah.
But then you just keep going. And
well, the wall is an interesting physiological sort of aspect to it, in that when you're running a marathon, in your body right now, you store a certain amount of glycogen and sugar, and it's roughly about 2,500 calories worth of that. That's how much your body stores on hand. I'm not talking about fat stores. I'm talking about your sugar stores. And it keeps that in case I got to go a long way today and there's no food, and your body's always trying to store. And so the cool thing about a marathon is you typically run out of those sugar stores about, well, the marathon's 24 miles. You run it out at about 17, 18 miles in.
Oh, wow.
So that's what runners call hitting the wall, because all of a sudden the energy systems that your body is using is run out of those stores, and it has to switch from burning sugars to burning fats. And so most people, that's where they hit the wall and they completely fail, because they haven't learned how to switch systems yet, or what that feels like to do that. But it's exactly the same thing in running. You get better and better, and you plot this line.
Yeah.
But if you don't stick with it, most people will quit right when when they stop seeing the improvement as fast as they expect it to be, and then they drop off.
And maybe their times are the same. The last 3 runs, you're frustrated with that. And you're like, I can't get any better than that.
Exactly. And so you just quit rather than making it harder, because now your capacity is greater. You've got to push yourself harder to get smaller gains.
You know, sometimes it is that way with self-control and in those areas of our life.
Yeah.
Like it's just pushing through some of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the real difference between experts and people who just dabble in it. Is experts just push through that little bit longer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's good.
Anyway, we should probably wrap up today.
Yeah,
it's a lot about self-control. We could keep going on, I'm sure, for a long time on this topic.
Yeah, we could. Well, it's
a tough one.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a burden. Well, thanks, Jay, for hopping in today. Loved it.
Yeah.
And don't forget to click the like button and subscribe as well, and share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share this content if you feel like it's profitable for someone else in their life. So we just hope that in some way that today this